All right, welcome back for day 2 of the Shadow Femme Masterclass. Right, I was like feeling that fire after I jumped off our call yesterday, and I'm like, I will admit, like I woke up this morning and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little depleted. Like, you know, working with this energy, working with the dark goddess energy, working with our shadows, right, can become depleting. It is a very dense energy that we are working with, right? So today we are going to dive into working with some beautiful Isis energy as a support system to assist in keeping that more balanced energy instead of having these high highs and these low lows that can often happen when we are starting the process of shadow integration, right? We want to maintain, right, a consistent energy for this work to be done. And while we are awakening and initiating into this energy, when we are starting to calibrate into this energy, right, those peaks and valleys are very common. So we're going to dive a little bit into what we can do to further integrate and connect to our dark feminine energy today. And I want to first and foremost say, right, take what resonates and leave the rest. We do not want to force anything when we are working with the dark shadow. There will be repercussions. There will be repercussions if you think that you are the leader and the controller of doing this work. It's ego thought. And with working with the dark goddess energy, right? Working with the shadow embodiment, right? We are learning to tame our ego. I don't believe in ego death. Our ego plays a very valuable role in the work that we do in this lifetime, in the spiritual journey, in the embodiment journey. Again, it's part of the shadow that we have been taught to suppress, to ignore, that is wrong to lead from. It has an empowered state and it has a wounded state. And a majority of humanity, when in ego, reacts and responds from that wounded state. The precipice is not to kill the ego or to silence the ego. It becomes a very, very beneficial and powerful tool, when we learn to understand it. When we feed and we nurture our ego from an empowered state, that need to save us from uncomfortableness begins to quiet. It begins to lessen. And our ego stops that fighting of trying to be in the driver's seat. Our response becomes less and less and less of that fight, that flight, that freeze, and that fawn mentality. And instead invites us into a gift of self-awareness, self-empowerment, right? And a deep understanding of trust within ourselves. So, if for some reason you are starting here on day 2, there will be a link in the recording underneath this to go back and watch day 1. But I will take a moment just to reintroduce myself. I am Melanie Colton. I am a sacred womb doula and a catalyst for divine feminine embodiment. I mentor and support the next level woman in reawakening into her goddess form, coming into a deeper understanding of her own unique energetic blueprint as well as the sacred medicine and gifts that she is here to feed into this world and into the journey of this lifetime. We are here to release the shackles and the constraints of a hierarchy, of an outdated patriarchal system, and rise back into our own power, our own potency, and taking up all of the damn space in the world at this time. Okay, so let us begin. Let us dive into this juiciness. Okay, the season of darkness is upon us, right? We are coming out of, right, our, what would be the seasonal calendar, right, of the winter. We are coming into this springtime, this time of year, right, when the days grow into longer, right? The nights become a little bit shorter, right? That dark side of the wheel of the year. And this is really a powerful time as we transition, right, from these winter months into the spring months, but also as we are ending out the astrological year. This is a time for deep purging and reflection and understanding of the shadows and the darkness, lessons and teachings that were unveiled to us over these previous months. We are starting to come back into the outside world after being inwards in deep reflection and in deep teaching within ourselves. We are here in a state of like reflecting on our own shadows and our own inner darkness. What has these last few months really, really taught us? Your shadow side, right? It's where we hide the parts of ourselves that we do not like. Those parts that we feel are not good enough, that we don't want other people to see, that we don't want to acknowledge. But it also really holds, right, that deep and profound beauty and wisdom. When we get to know this side of ourselves, when we reintegrate these parts of ourselves that we have tried to deny, that we have tried to push away, that we have tried to ignore, our spirit, our state of consciousness is able to grow and evolve wholly, deeply, and unified. When we begin the embodiment work of deep feminine energy, of the divine feminine energy, right? We first need to understand what is feminine energy as a whole, right? Yesterday, we really focused on the shadow aspects, but we can't have the shadow without the light. We can't be in the goddess without the dark goddess. They're not separate entities. They are one in the same, right? The sun doesn't exist without the moon, and the moon doesn't exist without the sun. They work together in co-creation. And that's the same as our light and dark aspects within ourselves. Being in touch with your femininity as a woman gives you the power to transform, to create, and embrace what makes you unique. And so it's really time to unlock the ways that help you channel that yin energy, and also to prevent those yin blocks that add into the wounded shadow aspects of our feminine psyche. So the feminine, or that yin energy, is transformative. It's soft, it's intuitive, and it's passionate. It is a principle and an aspect of being that exists within us regardless of gender. There is a principle of polarity that describes opposites as identical, yet still varying dimensions. Perfect example of this is hot and cold, right? Both are temperatures, yet they contrast in degrees. Yin is the energy that receives. It creates new concepts. It works within our imagination. By tapping into our feminine power, we are connecting beautifully with our subconscious mind. On the other end, right, we have the masculine, that yang energy. And it's the conscious mind. It's the, the tangibility and the willpower. It's the structure, right? Yang energy works to bring the yin ideas into fruition, allowing both polarities to work in harmony with each other, to coexist, to unify as one wholeness that supports us in this web of, intricate and divine energetics. Unlike masculine energy, feminine energy exists in the abstract. It's an experience that is not easily understood, leading to much confusion about what it is, right? Carl Jung's theory lends itself similarly to Taoism, the yin and yang concept of harmony. The feminine contains the masculine and the masculine contains the feminine. Neither is more important than the other and must be at equilibrium. This isn't necessarily like a 50-50 type of relationship. Each of us has our own unique percentage and way that it is balanced. But femininity is complex. It's enticing. It's engulfing. There is no one size fits all for the yin, and that's what makes it so beautiful. There is also the side of the feminine that is not simply receptive, but intense and compelling and mysterious, right? The feminine principle is always doing the active creative work. And this is on all of the planes, all of the dimensions, all levels of consciousness. And yet each principle is incapable of operative energy without the assistance of the other. Okay. So the significance of feminine energy is it helps us manifest our desires, indulge in the creative aspects of life, to have empathy, and to be confident in who we are at our very core, unapologetically. When we tap into this yin energy, we experience a powerful, inspiring, and magnetic frequency. Dark feminine energy is the shadow side that highlights the parts of us, right, that are repressed or humbled, that shame, that fear, that guilt, these shadowy fragments, which work against the feminine energy as a whole. Okay. A creative life is an amplified life. It's a bigger life, a happier life, an expanded life, and a hell of a lot more interesting of a life. Living in this manner, continually and stubbornly bringing forth the jewels that are hidden within you is a fine art in and of itself, right? We talked about this yesterday. When we are, suppressing and ignoring like the shadow aspects of us or the dark feminine aspects of us, like we are only living a percentage of our life. We are not living in our full capacity, in our wholeness as, a divine feminine being. Yin and yang, right, is a known concept used within Taoism, illustrating two halves coming together to achieve wholeness. Yin is the dark side of the symbol, and this portion represents cold, wet, feminine, negative, and hard. Yang, right, is the light side, which symbolizes the warm, the dry, the masculine, the positive, and the soft. Both halves seek a balance between each other and contain a little bit of each other within one another. So how can we be aware if we are, navigating from that wounded feminine energy? What are the signs that our yin energy is blocked, it's constricted, it's working against us, right? So feminine energy becomes blocked through trauma, through overwork, right? Through lifestyle factors and toxic relationships. When you're experiencing feminine energy blockages, consider the areas in your life that lack clarity, confidence, and nourishment. Where are you disassociated? Where have you disconnected? Where are you easily triggered? In fear, in lack, in scarcity. Allowing other people in. Trusting yourself, trusting others. So some of the things that we want to avoid to really allow our feminine energy to flow beautifully through us is we want to, we don't want to be seeking external validation for our self-worth. When it comes to femininity and self-worth, validation begins with you. You and only you. Getting wrapped up in others' opinions to, solidify or to confirm your worthiness is always going to leave you dissatisfied, insecure, and limited in your own mindset. Because you will constantly need that reapproval and that affirmation in everything that you do. Self-acceptance is an important and necessary step to thrive in a balance of yin and yang energy. And this trait can come in many forms, right? Using your accolades to define you, or constantly worrying that other people will judge you. This is where we need to have confidence, and we build that trust within ourselves. That no matter what the outcome, we know that it is aligned with the greatest good at the end of the journey. Secondly, tight personal boundaries. So having tight boundaries is generally a habit we build over time due to, again, a multitude of reasons. Tight personal limitations affect our inability to connect and nurture healthy relationships. We often confuse boundaries, tight boundaries, right, with walls. Walls that have been built to keep other people out. And and sometimes we tell ourselves we create these boundaries because we just don't want that energy within us. But 99% of the time, as we dive deeper into the shadow aspect, we realize that these boundaries have actually been created to keep people from seeing us. We build the walls to hide behind. So if you see your boundaries, and there's no flexibility, there's no carefreeness, there's no trust in whatever happens today or whoever I come in contact with, I will be okay. I have the knowledge, I have the power, I have the tools to transmute any energy that is unaligned with me. I am vibrating and holding space for such an elevated frequency that those lower, densest frequencies can't even connect to me. I am just not a portal for that frequency of energy. It literally reflects, deflects off of the energy that I'm carrying. But the truth is, a lot of us aren't in that. We tell ourselves we are. We tell ourselves we are, but we're not. We're building the walls to hide. We are building the walls as a fortress to keep other people out. So if you are boundaries, 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 and constantly projecting and building out boundaries, this is your invitation to acknowledge what it is you are actually hiding from. This isn't not having boundaries. There are healthy boundaries, and healthy boundaries are going to restore you to a higher quality of life. They are not going to restrict you from having experiences. That's your difference. Next, we have a scarcity mindset. And the scarcity mindset, right, is really living in fear that there is not enough. There isn't enough clients. There isn't enough money. There isn't enough abundance. There isn't enough to go around. If she's successful, if she's making money, if she's living the life, then I can't, because there isn't enough to go around. But when you successfully channel your feminine energy, you begin to understand that resources are abundant, they are limitless, they are plentiful, and that you actually have the power to create what it is that you need, what it is that you want, and what it is that you desire in and of itself. We are all tapping into a limitless pie in the sky that is constantly regenerated and expanded. And when we have that consciousness and when we have that awareness, we are actually feeding into the more expansive energy of that limitlessness. The more limitless we become, the more limitless the universe becomes back to us. The more restricted we are of our resources, of our beliefs, the more restricted the gifts and that connection to the universe becomes. You create what is accessible to you from your own beliefs. You are the key. Nobody else. Right? We are back here, taking our power back. Birthrights, limitlessness, right? We can go into, the lack of self-care. So not taking time to practice, essential self-care. When we neglect the sacredness of time for ourselves, of listening to our body, of listening to our intuition, to take a time out, to slow down, right? To lean more into, this, and this, right? It affects the mind, it affects the body, it affects our spirit. And this contributes to the buildup of stress, of overwhelm, of weakened intuition, of health issues, and incapacity to stay inspired. Self-care is not selfish. It is fundamental to thriving and living in harmony. A belief system of I don't have time is self-sabotage. Self-care doesn't require hours upon hours. It doesn't even need to be done every single day when you are living in an alignment. I was having a conversation with a private client yesterday, in regards to this of like, but I don't have time to incorporate this into my schedule. Because, when I wake up in the morning, I have my morning ritual of, drinking my cacao and then journaling and then going into meditation and then grounding. And it's like this whole, 2-hour production. And it's just all like, what if that 2-hour production is required because you are out of alignment the other 22 hours of the day? What if you need 2 hours every single day to bring yourself back into a balanced state because you are continuously living out of alignment, living beyond what your truths are? What if you are living fully aligned and fully embodied in your truth, and your daily rituals just become a sacred ceremony in and to yourself? Not to rebalance you, not to ground you, not to refill your cup, but it just becomes a sacred gift back into yourself. Pure pleasure, pure bliss, pure receiving. Doesn't that sound like really juicy and really divine? Instead of doing the 2 hours of work because you're out of alignment and you need to recenter yourself so you can turn around and push yourself back out of alignment. Refilling your cup strictly to fucking empty it by the end of the day. It's pretty fucking crazy. Like, it's pretty like, what the fuck? Like when we stop and we think about it, of what we are doing. This is what happens when we deny our shadow. It overpowers us and it continuously keeps us in a cycle of disconnect, of unalignment. Navigating from the wounding of scarcity, of lack, of unworthiness, of needing to control things. Self-care is a form of self-love and self-admiration. It should not be a tool used to refill your energetic cup. It should be a tool that allows your energetic cup to continuously be overflowing. Poor lifestyle habits also, roll into this, like maintaining lifestyle habits that are less than the standard that you desire, like cutting corners. It is one of the fastest ways to promote a yin deficiency in your body. Align your rituals, your routines, your diets, your fitness, your health with your purpose, your passion, so you can keep it at a vibrational level. Honoring the sacredness of your cycle. Honoring, right, the cocooning of your moon bleed. Not being one of those like entrepreneurs that forgets to fucking eat during the day because you're so tapped into getting all of the emails and all of the copy and all of the content pushed out. Of consistently needing to go to bed early because you're so burnt out from the day that you're bypassing the journaling, you're bypassing the meditation, you're bypassing the self-care because you simply don't have the energy anymore to do it. Relying on the multiple cups of caffeine and coffee to keep you boosted to get throughout the day, to get shit done. We're undervaluing ourselves. We're undervaluing the sacredness of our vessel. We are undervaluing the sacredness of our divine feminine cycle when we do these things. When we see, or when we lack, right, these healthy, supportive rituals and routines, we are literally sending out the vibration that we're not a priority, that we don't matter. You know what's going to happen when we're putting out those types of energies? We're going to attract a lot of relationships and a lot of situations that agree with that. We're going to be undervalued. We're going to be dismissed by people around us in our relationships. How's that going to sit with you? Like, how does that make you feel? Is that the life that you desire to live, is to constantly be in those feelings? I sure as hell don't. That doesn't sound like intriguing and, you know, and enjoyable and, you know, the life that I desire to live. I'm not here to fucking be a doormat to anybody or anything. And this starts with me. This starts with me prioritizing myself, prioritizing my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health. Make things about you non-negotiable. The emails can wait. The laundry can wait. Fucking hate folding laundry, okay? Like, like, it can all wait. Because if I'm not in a good place, the energy that I put out is not going to be good either. Nobody benefits. Nobody benefits from me, you know, unprioritizing myself. Hiding your true self. Who's guilty of this? Right? A tendency to hide your authentic self, to play small, to only show up in certain, you know, relationships or environments is an indication that you haven't done the necessary shadow work to evolve or to be generally comfortable within your own skin, as well as your own feminine self. By letting go of past mistakes and facing your insecurities, your fears and shame, you're opening up to, you know, a channel of that divine, healthy, feminine energy, right? General shadow work is very much a useful tool for navigating the depths of yourself. Overworking, overextending, and, you know, yourself is a recipe for an aching feminine energy block. In Western society, falling into that hustle culture is the quickest way to do this. In addition, making commitments to be there for everyone, to be there for everything, knowing that you're spreading yourself too thin, knowing that it doesn't actually align with you, knowing that you really don't want to fucking do it. Thinking that we owe something to somebody, or by not being fully supportive, we're a bad friend. Again, if we're not taking care of ourselves, we are of no benefit to anybody else. We are the priority. We are the sun in our own universe. We are the main characters of our own stories. Right? You go onto a movie set, right? And those main characters, those main actors, right? They've got the full, kit and caboodle setup. They've got their spread of all of their favorite foods. They got a nice cozy, place to sit down and have downtime in between shoots. Why the fuck are we not set up like that? Why is our life not like that? When we are all the main characters and actors in our own stories. Why do we not give ourselves the gold star services that we deserve and that we desire, that we are worthy of? Why are we so quick to give it to other people when we don't give it to ourselves? This is the blockage of the divine feminine energy. This is the wounding of the divine feminine energy that is still so prevalent in our society today. We also, right, will stay in toxic environments. We allow toxic relationships, unclean spaces, undesirable situations that bring out the worst side of us, that trigger our wounding and create compounded energy. Reactivating old wounds. And then we turn around and we gaslight our fucking selves by creating excuses or validating other people's fucking shitty behavior. And then we do that to ourselves as well because we react. We react in that same energy of frustration, of, irritation, of resentment. And it's, because I was, but. Right? And it becomes a toxic, continuous cycle. It keeps you from your ideal, divine, feminine state. When you are distracted by the toxicity in your life, it takes away from your capability to be present. And it brings in unnecessary anxiety, depression, resentment, and other negative, lower vibrational emotions that over time, right, create that stagnancy, that stuckness, that limited state within our being. We talked about this yesterday, but the need to control, a controlling nature. Perfectionism, is the need to control every outcome at all times, so everything turns out exactly as you planned. And how often does that actually happen? Right? Perfectionism does not fucking exist. Because there is absolutely no way for us to control every single minuscule part of a plan. And being Controlling is taking you far out, far away from your feminine energy. Control is a toxic masculine trait. Control is very different than the energy of leadership. It's very different than being in charge. But I think oftentimes it gets a little misconstrued. So if you are like a masculine dominant woman, right, in a healthy state, this can be you, right? So being in control, again, in that aspect of leadership, right? Being in charge, being the planner, right? Being that way shower. It's not a bad thing. But being in control or needing to be in control to execute a specific outcome is a wounded and toxic trait. It's vital to recognize that if your goal is to channel your femininity, finding a way to let go of your controlling techniques will be super powerful for you. Staying in, a lower frequency. Living in a low vibration or frequency is also accumulation of the previous, feminine energy blocks. Victimhood, needing to be saved. But again, also being aggressive. Or being, or needing to accumulate that control. These are all lower frequencies. And if you have a low frequency that emits from you, that you are living in, you're lost. You're repressing many emotions. You're going to find yourself struggling to remain, optimistic, to see the positive side of life. So raising your frequency is the key to living a remarkable life that serves the highest vibration of yourself. Remembering that femininity is complex, it's enticing, and it is engulfing. It is not a one-size-fits-all for the yin energy. But that's what makes it so beautiful. You don't need to be doing it like me. You don't need to be doing it like her. But you need to allow yourself to do it in the way that feels good and inviting and expanding within yourself. Own your bullshit, acknowledge it, and release it. So how can we awaken, right, the dark feminine energy in your life? Right, there are many, many, many ways. many ways. There's 1,000 ways, right, to invite dark feminine back into your world and, to cultivate a relationship with her power. And I am going to share, a few of, the basics with you, just for starters. we want to begin with rest and stillness, right? Rest is a sacred act. It's a mini death in the pause, right? If you are go, 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 go all of the time, if you've been in that hustle mode, then the sacred pause in the cycle of the feminine isn't going to come. We're going to overlook it. We're going to bypass it. We're going to continue to fucking move right through it. We want to rest when that regenerative power of the dark goddess comes into play. We want to honor it. Making time for rest as a conscious act is a must if dark feminine energy is going to rise through you. When we again look at our, our sacred cycles, when we look at our, individual moon cycle, in those depletions of, estrogen, when we start to feel blah, when we start to feel fatigued, right? Are we popping a bunch of pills? Are we drinking a bunch of coffee to give ourselves false energy to continue to push through the day, the work, the things that have to be done? Or are we leaning into that self-care of taking care of ourselves, of listening and resting, giving our body the things that it is, that it is yearning for? Are we getting into the goddess baths? Are we getting outside, to ground in the nature, to reconnect to Mother Earth? Are we using, plant medicines and tinctures filled with the beautiful feminine gifts of Mother Gaia to support and nurture the divine feminine aspects of our being, which can in turn also give us more motivation and more energy, to continue. So we're not just like, a frog on the log, just fucking sitting there like a lump, waiting for the go button or the on button to be repressed. For some, rest is simply moving at a slower pace. It's not a stop and pause. It has many attributes that it can look like, unique to you. But if you're always go, 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 and trying to push through and ignoring the signs for rest, you better believe the dark goddess is going to have you coming to a screeching halt where you have no choice but to completely stop. Disease, illness, sickness. And there'll be nothing you can do about it. I, for one, prefer to be in co-creation with the dark goddess energy and avoid having those like, bam, stop signs in my face. Been there, done that, don't need to go ride that again, right? Like that was a one done, I good. Okay. Learning to love our menstrual cycle. I know. Life isn't linear, right? It's cyclical. So just like nature, all of our life experiences move through seasons, from birth and growth to death and rebirth. Yet without dark feminine energy, this cycle is incomplete. All women have the unique ability and gift for physically connecting to the mystery of the dark feminine side through recognition and understanding of their menstrual cycle. Every woman holds the template of the sacred cycle within her body, whether you are bleeding or not, whether you have your womb space or not. The energy of your sacred cycle as a divine feminine being lives within you, not within an organ, not within an organ of your physical vessel, but within you as a sacred energetic being. You get to experience the magic and the mystery of regeneration every single month. But many, many women have fallen victim to the conditioning around menstruation, believing, as the patriarchy has told us, that blood is dirty, it's shameful, and it's embarrassing. It's something that we're supposed to hide. It's something that's taboo. It's an irony and a paradox that many believe that you can't be a feminine woman while menstruating. That we're actually unattractive and less feminine when we are bleeding. Though it's bleeding and having a menstrual cycle that connects us most deeply into our feminine essence in our human form. Where the fuck did all of this backwardness come from? Like, seriously, right? Menstruating is what makes us women. Getting to know and fully embracing your own cycle of menstruation is an intimate way to get to know how dark feminine energy flows through you. And it's an act of resistance and a reclamation of sacred femininity and the power that you hold within yourself. We want to explore blood mysteries, right? So if you are menstruating, what is your relationship with your blood? How do you greet your flow? Most women are taught that their monthly moon blood is a waste product. It is something that is dirty, it is tainted, that we are meant to throw away. But your blood has incredible regenerative, healing, and protective qualities. Many ancient cultures practice blood rites. Many indigenous people still do this. From simply saving moon blood and using it as a healing elixir on your wounds, on your skin, right? To spiritually charging it for magical purposes, including ceremony, gifting it back into Mother Earth. You can gift your blood back to the earth, or even try, including it as a potent medicine. The divine feminine exists in the materiality of our bodies. And the mysterious power of our monthly moon blood is the essence of dark feminine magic. Now, if you are, squirmish around blood, if the idea of working with, your moon blood feels icky to you, right? You can also, just connect to it through, free bleeding. Rid your body of commercialized bleeding products. Use like you can use like period panties, right? You can use reusable pads. Right? You can incorporate, washing them out as part of a ritual of honoring your sacredness, of honoring your bleed. Instead of like taking them out and throwing them into the garbage as something gross, as something bad. Washing our blood, allowing the free bleed is just an acceptance of our natural nature. And holding space and acknowledging it for a beautiful, life-giving gift. It's not a burden. It's not a burden. The ability and the gift to give life is something very beautiful and very, very sacred. And without, these monthly bleeds, we don't have that gift to give. And we know there are many women in the world who would love to have the problem of bleeding monthly, of being able to create life. So if you are a bearer of this sacred gift, I invite you to truly honor it for the magic that it is. I don't know why I'm getting all emotional there. Next, we want to do some shadow work. Shadow work is dark feminine work. Most women and men are suppressing vital aspects of their true selves without even realizing it. And whatever we suppress within ourselves ends up in the shadows of our unconscious. What you find in the shadow is often distorted, an unexpressed part of a wound. When you begin to illuminate the dark side of the psyche with awareness, the dark feminine energy comes into play. Shadow work requires deep healing, full acceptance, self-love, radical transformation. Dark femininity is the animating force that transmutes shadow into gold, to regenerate pieces of a fragmented soul into something extraordinary is pure dark feminine magic. So methods to accessing the shadow, right, include, writing in our journal, inner child work, somatic experiencing, right, reconnecting to our body, working with a coach or a mentor in exploring our traumas, even like, working with a counselor in exploring our traumas and our wounding. Opening that door for the dark feminine to reveal herself through us, to invite her into play. Getting outside, touching the earth, putting hands into soil, right? Dark feminine energy lives deep in the rich black soil of our earth. She is the decay and the dissolution of matter. She is the fertile void of potential, teeming with sexual energy and rebirth. She is the mysterious space between death and life, where something miraculous happens. In the alchemical mysteries, this unknowable liminal place is the crucible for spiritual transformation. In nature, this is what our good earth is doing all of the time, through her endless cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Something happens when you just plunge your fingers, into the earth. Like, forget the gardening gloves. When you touch soil, your skin, is immediately connected to the divine feminine energy. And that's not only physical. She awakens something deep within you as you participate in the mystery. As you connect to the divine feminine energy of Mother Earth. That divine feminine energy is awoken and remembered within you. We want to befriend our rage. Right? The angry woman is still very taboo within our society. As you know, never let loose, never let your anger get a hold of you or your rage, especially in public. Don't let people say that. The angry woman should be ashamed of herself. She's ugly, she's out of control. She is the polar opposite of femininity. But the repressed emotions that often lead to outbursts of anger are different than the sacred rage. That is the one that fuels the dark feminine. Learning to cultivate a healthy relationship with your rage and recognizing the emotional intelligence it really holds is a potent way, to transform and move into the next paradigm. We want to activate that inner crone archetype, right? Divine feminine energy manifests many different archetypes. Maiden, mother, crone are the most well-known, right? Corresponding to the 3 phases of the moon, right? We've got the waxing, the full moon, and the waning. And the archetype of the crone, the wise woman, embodies many darker qualities of the divine feminine. She is ancient, she is fearsome, she is untamed, she is primal, she is raw, and she is wise. Right? The dark feminine energy, is also associated, right, with the enchantress or the wild woman archetypes as well. Explore esoteria. So from magical work to astrology, from sigils to shape-shifting, right? The dark feminine weaves her thread through many of the more esoteric practices that humans do, right? The mainstream society doesn't tend to accept them. Astrology is a little bit more embraced in mainstream, but most of the time, the intangible, the non-logical, the more mysterious side of life are shunned and ridiculed by those still deep in a left brain, operating system. And then hidden by those who do practice and embrace it. It's been this way for many centuries. And many people today, this pattern of non-acceptance is rooted in, the history of the witch hunts of the Middle Ages. It's tied back to our communal and collective witch wound. So the sense that practicing anything occult is dangerous is a very real and deep-seated fear. It's a huge part of the witch wound, and it's one of the ways that the feminine energy is still stunted. So exploring esoterica and other things that you may think are witchy practices are not only potent acts of self-realization, but they're also the kinds of spiritual activity that were banned and suppressed along with our feminine, our divine feminine essence. We can and we must each do the work to release our deep fear around the more etheric practices and magical side of life. It's a fear that's no longer serving humanity, and it holds us back collectively and personally. So the dark feminine energy is a force that captures the mysteries of womanhood. The shadow side of feminine energy is a destructive force in creation. It's characterized by death and raging transformations. The saying, "There is no wrath like a woman's scorn," summarizes the might of this wild feminine energy. We see this, we know this, we understand this in the myths and the religions, in the stories, in the power of the goddesses like Kali, the master of death, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and power, Oya, the goddess of weather, Lilith, that she demon, and Lana, this, the severe goddess of chastity. Dark feminine energy is the shadow side of femininity. It is the destructive nature of the feminine. And we, both men and women, are here at this time to embrace divine feminine, to restore the balance into the world. The dark feminine rises because it is everything that we've made inferior and suppressed. It is time for the dark goddess to rise. I'm going to invite you at this time to get into a comfortable position, seated, laying down, whatever feels best for you. I'm going to lead you through an activation and healing process with the beautiful energy of Isis. I am going to reference the pyramid of life while we are opening up space. And I just want to give you a visual of what that actually is, so you can see it in your mind's eye. Okay, so this is, so this is the pyramid of life. So we have goddess Isis up at the top, and then we have Horus, Beset, Sekhmet, and Thought rounding out our corners of space for us. Okay. So as I lead you through the exercise of opening up space, I want you to picture yourself here in the center with the pyramid of life being built around you. Let us So just getting comfortable, closing your eyes, beginning to take a few deep breaths in and out. So I honor the presence of the true and absolute spirit of love, light, and wisdom within me and all around me. Infinite blessings of unconditional love fill my soul. I open my heart to grace, guidance, and protection. All that is needed for my highest good is given freely. And through divine will and unconditional love of the Divine Mother, the goddess Isis, she shares her wisdom and healing with us. What is most needed for this sacred work, for this collective space, is now revealed. We are being guided to work with the divine destiny, the path of the divine warrior. And the divine warrior guides you to your divine destiny. The divine warrior energy exists within both men and women as the inner propulsion to continue with a worthy path, even during times of difficulty. When faced with a challenge, a true warrior will summon more of herself to the cause. It might be more wisdom, focus, intelligence, and surrender into the divine. The warrior within has great inner resourcefulness and determination, and that part of you will lead you to spiritual success. So on behalf of all who have gathered here today, Lady Isis, goddess of 10,000 names, the mother of life, I ask for your divine healing presence, for the highest good and the greatest benefit to all beings. So be it. So I'm going to want you to visualize, imagine, feel, intend, or pretend that there is a tiny point of light within your heart that shines out with a feeling of love and divine presence. You can visualize a wing of light from your heart on all sides, right and left, above and below, in front and behind. As it grows, it will naturally expand, becoming so light that it flies up until it settles in place, becoming the topmost point of the pyramid. I give thanks for the divine love of Mother Goddess Isis. Her wings of light encompass body, mind, heart, and soul in complete love and divine protection now. May the light of divine love shine faithfully and powerfully, revealing truth and bringing hope, healing, and renewal. See, sense, feel, or imagine That divine unconditional love is now shining above as a divine heart with wings of light on the left and the right, the front and the back, above and below. Tap into this feeling of beautiful, loving, and peaceful energy now. Allow the heart of divine love with wings of light to take its rightful place at the top of the pyramid of life. Within this heart of light, with her wings of love open, Isis shines loving blessing, eternal life, renewal, hope, and healing into this sacred space. This divine presence appears as a soft, almost colorless platinum light. 4 points of light form 4 corners of a square upon the earth around you now. Each of the 4 corners becomes an anchor of light, grounded in connection with the earth. This is the base of the pyramid of life, helping you to receive the loving wisdom of Goddess Isis. Bringing your awareness now to the first point of light at the base of the pyramid of life. At the first spear of light forming the foundation, we honor the ibis-headed god Thoth, the divine word, the consciousness for healing, the higher wisdom, and the guardian against darkness. He transmits the truth of Mother Isis in perfect form, revealing to us the healing secrets of life itself. He first appears as a soft blue light, representing wisdom and truth. Bringing your awareness now to the sphere of light, directly opposite Thoth, at the base of the pyramid of light. The second sphere of light, forming the foundation of the pyramid, opposite Thoth, stands the divine solar warrior, the falcon-headed god Horus, representing the pure wisdom of the sacred masculine, with the solar disk and crescent moon as his crown. He is vigilant against evil. Through the night and the day, he appears first as a soft gold light. See, sense, feel, imagine. There is a soul-deep feeling of relief. There is a powerful spiritual protection at all times and in all ways. Everything is working out for the best, even through challenges and mysteries. Be with this feeling of relief. Let it naturally create comfort, softening, softly releasing any despair, doubt, or fear. You are so loved. Thoth and Horus stand opposite each other, creating an axis of protection. And together they ground divine light and divine wisdom into this sacred space and our own souls now, so that the greatest divine blessings of protection will flow through all realms for all beings. Bring your awareness now to the sphere of light at the west, resting at the base of the pyramid of light. At the third point of the foundation in the pyramid of life, representing the cosmic heat of the setting sun, the lion-headed goddess Sekhmet stands. She appears first as a soft red light of the setting sun, shining as a warrior queen, powerful yet honest, just and filled with higher wisdom. She is the fearless truth that prevails. See, sense, feel, imagine. There is a quality of fearless honesty and courage that rises up to face any negative energy within you or the world. It burns bright and powerful within, the light of truth and bravery. You have a sense of unshakable trust, complete certainty that negative energies will always be overcome by the good and true. Bring your awareness now to the sphere of light at the east, opposite where Sekhmet stands, resting at the base of the pyramid. The fourth point of foundation of the pyramid of life, opposite the goddess Sekhmet, is the healing goddess of the rising morning star, Beset, the feline-headed goddess of music, celebration, new life, and healing. Appearing first as a soft pink light of the new day, she is the emanation of happiness. She teaches us to embrace the sensual pleasure of being alive. See, sense, feel, imagine, or pretend there is a spirit of happiness and peace that fills your heart and this sacred space now. A sense of trust in your life journey and a higher, joyful purpose for your life. Trust that you are loved, that you are supported and divinely guided. Your heart relaxes and your mind opens easily to the divine light now. Sekhmet and Beset, sisters of the sacred feminine, stand opposite each other, creating the axis of blessing, bestowing gifts for fulfillment, for abundance, for joy, for courage and strength, for healing and for protection across all realms of creation. The pyramid of life is alive and pulsing with the forms of life that open your heart with love. The sights, the scents, the sounds of love, peace, and vitality fill the pyramid of life now. The loving presence of true divine joy shines pure blessings out from the pyramid, bringing paradise alive within your pyramid of life. Pyramid of life is illuminated and grounded in this sacred space, now transformed into a living temple of pure divine love, light, and power for your highest good. The oracle of divine destiny is a call to your divine warrior. This part of you has great self-esteem and believes that what you desire is worth whatever effort, personal growth, application, focus, and attention are required to obtain it, provided that it aligns with you. This part of you acts in personal integrity. And if the goal will compromise integrity, then your goal is refined until it shines like a diamond in your heart. Then the divine warrior will bring it into being. The path of the divine warrior is not one of any means to an end. The means and the end are considered equally important. The divine warrior will succeed in bringing about your divine destiny, but it will be done in a way that is in integrity with deep spiritual values. There are important teachings on the path of the feminine about the need for surrender and allowing for the best manifestation. The divine warrior is not at odds with these, but continually surrenders into the greater unfoldment and play of cosmic forces, seeking to align with those forces for greatest power and flow. The oracle of divine destiny often comes at a time when there is something that you feel you are struggling to obtain. It may be a vague sense or a clear vision. There is something within your heart that you have almost given up hope on, wondering if it is ever really going to come together. This message of the divine warrior is that although you may feel struggle or challenge, it is not a sign to step away from this situation. It is a sign to put your faith in the divine warrior within instead. This warrior may shift approach, change expectation, go within to find the resources that you require, or find a completely different path to get you to your destiny. Do not give up the fight. If you're not sure to what this applies, ask yourself what it is in your life that you feel you are fighting to attain or maintain. Find what it is, not in form, but in essence. If it is with your job that you are fighting for, then it may be your freedom and responsibility that you are really fighting for. If you're fighting your weight or your eating habits, then it might be the right to express your true feelings that you are fighting for. With your body as the divine warrior, refusing to give up the right to truthful expression. Find the truth of what you are working towards and keep your heart and mind centered in that truth. Your divine warrior will get you what you need and deeply desire in alignment with your best and highest divine destiny, because you deserve no less. Imagine, sense, or feel that in your inner heart, there is a beautiful book of words, images, and scenes. This book within your heart is accessible to you right now. And as you ask silently within, where am I fighting my divine destiny right now? Be aware as the book responds to you, falling open at a particular page. Imagine that you can perceive or feel the contents of that page. Letting yourself be aware of any impressions, whether they make sense to you or not. If you do not sense anything, that is fine. It doesn't mean that nothing is happening. It just means that you are not consciously aware of it at this time. Be patient and intend to receive guidance, which will become clear to you. Now ask the book, how do I best fight so that my divine destiny will manifest? Be aware that the book opens at a particular page and you see, sense, feel, perceive, or notice certain colors, feelings, or impressions. You may see images or get crystal clear guidance. You may find that you don't notice much consciously at all. And even if the latter is the case for you, just continue to hold space, receiving guidance at a subconscious cellular level that will have a healing and guiding effect on your thoughts, your actions, and impulses. This is a deep healing exercise, no matter how vivid your perception of your inner book might be. Call in the presence of Goddess Isis. To be a way seer, a way shower for you. As she enters your sacred space, she brings with her a fractional piece of your own dark goddess essence that you have been disconnected from, that you have forgotten. What are the messages that Mother Isis has for you? Which of her medicines is she here to gift to you at this time? Isis is a beautiful bridge and helpful as she helps us to grow in understanding so that we can become more powerful advocates of love in the world without denying the existence of darkness. What is the aspect and the essence of your dark goddess energy that she has brought back to you today? What aspect of yourself have you been denying? Have you been hiding, ignoring, or shunning? This is the initiation of reawakening, of embodiment of your dark feminine essence. A loving gesture in divine protection of the great goddess Isis. Feel her medicine and magic be received within you as she places her hand upon your heart space. Like a lightning bolt, a shock to your body, to your energetic being. You begin to tingle, pulsate, awakening dormant DNA and energy, calling back all fragmented parts of your being. Inviting the suppressed and long forgotten parts of your shadow back into the table. Feeling that sense of wholeness, of completeness, radiate through your being as she continues to serve you this sacred medicine, the sacred teachings, her wisdom and clarity for your own unique dark goddess dance. Finding your own heart softening and opening to these shadow parts of you as she shuns and shines her unconditional love of darkness into your being. Simply be in her energy. And allow her to be your activator. The abundance and truth of life is recognized by the heart. All the life that has been felt, envisioned, projected within this pyramid of life is now released by divine blessing to wherever it is needed for our highest good. The Sacred Mother Isis gives her generous blessing of protection and liberation for every soul. You're now going to visualize, feel, imagine, or intend that the pyramid of life dissolves into golden light, which swiftly flashes and moves wherever it is meant to go. There is plenty to go around. Some may be felt personally by you or others. Some may seem to go elsewhere in the world. It is safe to relax and trust in the process. For when we share blessings with another, it is returned to us multiplied at the perfect time and in the perfect way. So with gratitude, unconditional trust, and absolute confidence in the divine, I acknowledge that this sacred work is now complete. Thank you, Holy Ones, for being with us. Thank you, Goddess Isis. May your eternal presence awaken grace, truth, and love in all hearts. Taking a deep, cleansing breath, bringing your awareness back into your body, back into this space and into this time. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you are ready, opening your eyes. How is everyone feeling? Right. If you want to continue, right, to dive deeper through this experience that you just went through, I am going to share a couple of journaling prompts that will assist you in the shadow work through journaling. I will copy and paste these into the description of the recording itself. And I'm going to just copy and paste it into the chat group for those that are here live as well. If you want to copy and paste these, you can do so. So the first question that you might want to consider yourself is, do certain traits in others stir up out of proportion emotions or reactions within you? Who do you look up to? And what qualities do you see in people that you admire? What was one time you remember feeling wronged as a child? And how has this affected your adulthood? What's one trait you see in other people that you wish that you had? And why don't you possess this characteristic yourself? What's the fear embedded around that? What toxic traits have you recognized in your parents? How did it make you feel when you realized that your parents weren't perfect? And do you possess these traits yourselves? These will all help to expose where toxic feminine energy still exists within you, and gives you a platform to invite that dark goddess energy in for transmutation and alchemy of these wounds and toxic traits and conditionings within you. If you desire, right, to continue to work with me, you know, in the embodiment of your dark feminine nature, as well as your divine feminine nature, we do have the Primal Self program beginning on March 15th. This is an 8-week program where we will have weekly training calls, as well as continual homework that involves rituals and sacred ceremony with dark goddess energy, both your own as well as the deities. It comes with lifetime access to all of the trainings after the 8 weeks. It is currently offered at $333, a very no-brainer price for 8 weeks of dark goddess support. There is also a 3-month payment plan of $122. And over the next 48 hours, if you jump in and say yes to Primal Self, you will also receive a bonus dark goddess transmission. So this is a sacred channeled transmission from your dark goddess through me as a divine channel, a recording that you will receive, that you can tap into and listen to again and again and again to support deeper integration and understanding of your own dark feminine essence. These are generally sold at a price point of $88. If you are ready to like dive off the deep end into the dark feminine energy, there is a mastermind that will be starting in April as well. It is currently on sale for $2,222. This is a 3-month container with weekly group coaching calls, supportive training materials, a private sisterhood group, Voxer access for group chat for continued integration in between all calls. There is also a bonus of a private womb initiation session with myself to again clear out the cobwebs and the traumas and the, you know, lower vibrational frequencies of the divine feminine essence that are still encapsulated within your energy body. Payment plans are also available at, it is four monthly payments of $575. Okay. If you have any questions around that continuing work, you know, I don't like to like take up a whole lot of time because this isn't a sales speech. This is literally my gift to you of the Sacred Femme. Take this information, run with it, do with it as you are so called. If I am a part of that, I am greatly humbled and blessed and would love to hold that space for you. If this is not the time or something else or someone else calls to you, that is also beautiful. I'm going to stop recording now, but I'm going to thank you all for spending the last 2 days with me. For the women that are on the call, if you have any questions, I'm going to stop recording so I can hold space for anything that it is that you desire to share. So I send you off with so much love, so much light, and I will see you very, very soon.